presentation of tonight's starting lineups and entire rosters. Here is Ivan Mormon.
Number 22, Greg Harris. Number 50, Michael Dodd. Number 42, Danny Miles. Number 54, Jerome Clark. Number 30, Eric White. Starting at a forward, number 11, Terry Bryant. And at the other forward, number 33, Kevin Bonds. At center, number 23, Patrick Jelks. At a guard, number 5, Mark Lenore. And at the other guard, number 12, Kevin Bonds. And their coach, William Smith Jr. Senior, I'm sorry. For the Warren Central Warriors, number 30, Kawami Watts. Number 44, Jenkins Mansfield. Number 33, Butch Hoyt. Number 34, J.J. Totten. Number 11, Mike Laird. Number 10, Kip Kuntz. Number 20, Scott Schreiber. Starting at a forward, number 42, Devin Davis. And at the other forward, number 22, Jeff George. At center, number 40, Yogi Henderson. At a guard, number 12, Craig Looper. And at the other guard, number 14, Dwayne Futch. And their coach, Gary Jacob. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the presentation of the colors.
Good crowd on hand here at Hinkle Fieldhouse tonight for this regional championship game. The matchups go thusly. For the Warren Central Warriors, George and Davis at forward, averaging 22-6. Let's look at the officials. First off, though, Tom Hessian, Troy Ingram, and Bill Walton. We got a couple of good ones here.
Well, Troy from Richmond and Bill from down in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Now the matchups. George and Davis at forward, averaging 22-6 for Warren Central. For the Rockets, Hayden and Bryant, 24-3. Not much differential there. In the middle, Jelks has the advantage, averaging 14-8 to Henderson's 8-9. At the guard spots, Butch and Looper at 27-8 total scoring average for the Warren Central Warriors, and Lenore and Bonds averaging 30.5 points per ball game. Tom, by those numbers, it's hard to tell where the scoring is going to come from tonight.
Well, that's true, and I think it's pretty well. Both clubs have some very similar situations in regard to the fact they're good board teams, and shooting is going to be dependent upon, I suppose, where they can get the shots in regard to the scheme of their offense. And that'll be interesting to see how they handle Lenore, who's a good athlete. Warren, of course, with a lot of good athletes. And I think that Broad Ripple probably has many players that fit together and do jobs very well, which has made them ultimately successful, as their record would indicate.
Well, Warren Central has just gotten better and better as the year has worn on, and part of that is because 5 of the 12-man roster is a football, but we're football players, and it just took them a little while to get their basketball legs. We are set to play now. Broad Ripple at 26-0, Warren Central at 21-4, and the opening tip controlled by the Broad Ripple Rockets. Warren sets up in a 1-2-2 zone or a 3-2 zone very quickly. Lenore with the basketball. Thomas Hayden at one of the guard spots. Off the near side, this is Terry Bryant. Broad Ripple with good basketball movement. Good position inside. The rebound comes down to Broad Ripple again. They are the visiting team on the scoreboard tonight, wearing the dark uniform.
One of the difficult things about rebounding is when you're in a zone, you can't check off a man particularly well, and that happened to Warren on that, and Ripple's getting another opportunity.
Inside, all by himself. The shot is missed. Tapped up once, won't go, but back up by Jelks, and a foul is called. It'll be on Warren Central. And as Tom pointed out, the Rockets getting 2 and 3 opportunities, and that's not going to stand up very well over the long haul of a basketball game.
Well, as we indicated on the zone, you see they have 2 Broad Ripple players. There's Jelks inside. Henderson's going to be on his back, and Patrick Jelks is going to get the first opportunity from the free throw line.
For those who didn't see Jelks play last Saturday night, Tom, we did that ball game with North Central. Boy, I've never seen anybody work any harder than Patrick does.
Very active basketball player inside, and you really have to be to get the ball with defenses the way they're played today, and he knows how to do that, and when the ball's on the board, he goes after it.
First couple of points of the ball game belong to the Broad Ripple Rockets. They jump out in front by a 2-0 score. Quickly, Warren Central gets the basketball for the first time. Warren Central Warriors over the regular season averaging 64 points per ball game and giving up 60 per contest. So the winning margin was slight. Now it's a tie ball game. And the first couple of points coming from Yogi Henderson. Yogi's a 51% shooter, averaging about 9 points per contest. Tie ball game. Minute gone, first quarter of play. The Rockets, Tom, to be quite honest, have skated themselves through a couple of nip-and-tuck ball games. They've had, there's a foul called away from the ball, a blocking foul called on Broad Ripple. Catch the guilty party.
Well, I believe it's going to be on Kevin Bonds.
All right, on Kevin, number 1. What I started to say, Tom, was the fact that the Rockets have dodged a few bullets in the last couple of weeks, and I guess good ball clubs managed to dodge those bullets.
Well, you're managed to survive through them, and if you're going to win this many ball games consecutively as they have, you're going to have to win some close ball games.
Warren Central with Dwayne Futch in command. Right side it goes to Devin Davis down to the baseline, and Jeff George has got his first couple of points of this night.
We get an indication what Warren wants to do, and that's post up down low. They've gotten it to Henderson and then to George, and it's scored both times.
So from 2 down to a tie at 2, down to a 4-2 basketball game. Warren Central gets its first lead of the contest. Mark Lenore has not been hurt from yet, at least scoring-wise. In the middle, tipped away, and last touch by Jeff George. If you're just joining us, first the name Jeff George is synonymous with outstanding high school football. He won every award conceivable for a high school football player. The high school football player of the year on a national level this year. And the rebound comes down to Jeff George. Quickly out of the right side. They fill the lanes beautifully. A little 10-footer right side, in and out. Tapped up once and will go, and a rebound and a jump ball. Some pretty good ball movement that time.
Warren has moved it very well. You see how quickly they take the ball down the floor, and there's the shot from Looper on the right side that rimmed it, and Henderson's there to get a tip, and then he ties up in there with Bryant, and the possession's going to go to Warren.
They're out in front by 4-2. Here's Jeff George. Jeff George, second bucket. I talked to his father, David, before the ball game tonight. We had a discussion about the recruiting that went on for Also along with the George household. He, of course, is off to join forces with Leon Burnett up at Purdue, and I'll guarantee you the folks in West Lafayette are happy about that. 6-2 basketball game. Warren Central out in front of the state's #1 team early on in the ball game with 5.5 minutes to go first quarter. Offensive foul.
Well, Bryant was determined to take it to the basket, which he did, and we're going to see him go right down the lane, and Warren really has had the inside pretty well sealed off. You see he bangs into George right there. I think it was Henderson rather than George that hit the deck. At any rate, the foul is on Hayden. Or Bryant, rather.
Bryant, yeah, Tom. That's #1 on him. 5:25 to play, first quarter. Quickly inside. Ball deflected free. Picked up, put up, and good. That is Devin Davis' first bucket. First 2 points of the contest. Warren Central has more speed than I thought, Tom.
Well, they're good athletes, have good movement, and they've really done well from the 15 feet on in on their offensive end.
Long-range shot caught the front of the rim off Bryant, then went over the backboard, and last touch by the Broad Ripple Rockets, so Warren Central gets it again. Warren Central this year had 5 returning lettermen and 5 football players. They had to reschedule a number of their early games because of being in the football playoffs and eventually winning the 5A football championship. Second straight year they won the big school title. Here is George, caught the rim, the rebound yanked off in there by Futch, and a whistle and a foul. And the foul is going to be called against Broad Ripple, and they are pointing the guilty finger at Patrick Jelks. No foul, apparently.
Well, he's going to call him for having taken steps right here. He goes down, and the turnover, he lost his balance right there. He came back down with the ball in his possession.
All right, so the turnover gives the ball back now to the Broad Ripple Rockets. Rockets winners by 10 last night over Howell, 69-59. And a good defensive play by Craig Looper. Looper's in trouble, though. Got to hurry. Obviously, the numbers in their favor once they get it across the timeline. Looper all the way in, deflected free under the hoop, picked out of there by Futch. And Dwayne has his first 2 points of the game. Futch is the top field goal shooter on this Warren Central ball club, hitting 52%. And it's an 8-point lead for Warren Central at 10-2. In fact, they have outscored Broad Ripple 10-0 after falling behind 2-0. 4:10 to play, first quarter.
Very obvious in Warren's defense. They're going to make Broad Ripple shoot the ball from outside, and they have not been able to put it down through yet. There's one.
Bryant missed the shot, got the rebound, and got the hoop. His first of the night. Very quickly back up court. Dwayne Futch counters at the other end. Futch second bucket. Dwayne is a 6-foot senior, leads the club in assists and steals. He's got good speed, good quickness. Lead stays at 8. Long-range shot picked out by Jeff George. In a hurry, they come to the near side. Here is Futch. It is 3-on-1, underhand inside. And 2 points from Yogi Henderson. His second bucket, and the lead goes to 10 at 14-4. And I'm a little surprised that Bill Smith hasn't taken a timeout.
Well, of course, you only have 4 anymore, and it makes you use them a little more judiciously, but he's going to have to do something in a moment.
Here's the shot in the middle, and a foul called. A good block up high, but some body contact down low, and the foul will be on Jeff George, #1 on him. We'll take a look at it one more time, Tom Hession.
Well, this is an instance where they do get the ball inside the zone, as you see right here. Bonds has it low. George is up on the arm, and Devin Davis came across the lane to actually block the ball, but George had committed the foul.
Well, I'm thinking of it, Tom. Our best wishes to Gene Cato, the commissioner of the Indiana High School Athletic Association, underwent an emergency appendectomy last Saturday. Was supposed to have gone home today, and I wanted to mention this early because I know it'll be bedtime for him.
Very difficult time of year for a commissioner to be on the sideline.
It really is, but I understand things at the office are going as smooth as they have in years, so we wish Gene a speedy recovery. Kevin Bond's first point of the night. Broad Ripple 3 out of 3, and boy, Tom, did they make good use of those free throws in overtime last Saturday night against North Central.
Well, if you're in tight ball games, that many times is the difference.
They're a 67% shooting team from the free throw line. It's now 14-6 in favor of Warren Central. Now, Broad Ripple has been here before. They've been down. They were all but dead last Saturday night against North Central. Down by 3 with 12 seconds to go, and still somehow managed to win that basketball game. And a turnover against Warren Central. And it'll be Broad Ripple's ball right in front of their own bench. Head coach Bill Smith over there getting assistance from Tom Ranchi out of Ball State, Robert Cooley of Alabama State, and Dan Young of Eastern Michigan.
Now they've made a change here and put Lamore on top in their offense, at least to get the ball down. Now they've circled him under there. He's pass intended for Lamore, I believe.
And Patrick Jelks came up with it. Patrick has his first field goal in his 4th point of the night. Now down to 2:50 to play here in the first quarter. Lenore's not been a factor so far for Broad Ripple.
No, he's only had the ball in the corner of the floor and has had a couple of shots.
Yogi Henderson blocked away by Schultz, pulled out of the air by Craig Looper. Looper still has it, and now the breakaway. Here comes Terry Bryant. Terry's second field goal. They cut the 10-point lead to 4 at 14-10 with 2:25 to play in the first quarter. A noisy crowd at Hinkle Fieldhouse tonight. The winner comes back here and faces the Richmond winner in the first game next Saturday. George off the mark. Rebound put back up by Henderson. Won't go. And rebounded by Patrick Jones, who's come to life of late. Bryant to Jones. Knocked down one of the Warren Central Warriors. The rebound comes off to Dwayne Futch. Knocked away out of bounds too. Warren Central, I believe.
We're going to give it to Broad Ripple. I think Troy had pointed the one way and called the other color.
Substitution for Warren Central. Kwame Watts will come in. A timeout has been taken. The clock showing 1:58 to play first quarter. It is Warren Central leading by 4.
After he's been elbowed, fouled, and yelled at, how does Wayman Tisdale fire up that famous smile?
Breakfast at McDonald's.
And right now, Wayman's smile is a full 100-point grin. Because with any breakfast sandwich and drink at McDonald's, you get
Free hash browns.
Free hash browns with your breakfast at McDonald's.
Tell them McTiz sent you.
You be the leader of the pack in a Pontiac. A Pontiac from the Pontiac pack.
The pack is back to heat up your streets with Pontiac's front-wheel drive Hot Ones. Sunbirds, sticker price to bring you in from the cold. Grand Am, this one sizzles with excitement. Pontiac 6000 gets you where you're going. Tells them you've arrived. Get Pontiac's front-wheel drive pulling for you at your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers.
The Pontiac pack.
Ball game was tied at 10, and Warren Central ran off. Well, actually, it was 2-0 Broad Ripple, and Warren Central ran off 10 successive points. And here's how they got here, the tournament trail. And last night, that 66-64 win for Warren Central. And I'm not sure a lot of people, Tom Hession, gave Warren Central a lot of possibilities of winning that ball game.
No, I don't believe they did, but Ben Davis has really had some problems in this regional over a period of years.
Broad Ripple is hitting 3 out of 11 for 27%. Warren Central is hitting 7 out of 12 now for 54%. Warren Central with the basketball, up by 4. They got a 3-on-1 break and some excellent ball handling, and Craig Looper gets his first field goal. Looper was out for about 3 weeks, right around the first of the year, with a viral infection. He came back strong. Here's the strip in the middle, and an excellent defensive play by Kwame Watts, who came in during the timeout. Up to Craig Looper, a 10-footer won't go. Looper again, and a whistle, and a foul prior to the shot, and they're pointing toward Mark Lenore. And if so, that'll be number 1 on Mark. Now, Tom, when you got a guy like Lenore who leads the club, as you look at it again, when he leads the club in scoring, assists, and steals, you got to get Mark Lenore in this ball game somewhere along the way.
Well, there was a foul. You saw it right there, and they called it. Lenore came in trying to get a rebound, but he was screened away from the basket. And you're right. They're trying to move him on the positioning on the zone, and they had him at the top. Warren's back with the basketball now. They haven't been as effective with a half-court offense as they have in the running up and down the floor on the break.
1:10 to play first quarter. Warren Central, once they got the lead, have hung on to the lead, had it as high as 10. Watts. First couple of points for Kwame.
Well, he came here last night and had a big evening. He was in double figures off the bench and been a big help in this tournament.
In fact, he had 10. Here is the steal. Excellent defensive play by Futch. Right side Looper. And Craig has a couple of field goals, and that lead goes back to 10 again at 20-10. That's the second time it has been a 10-point differential. And we're down to the final 40 seconds of the first quarter of play. Broad Ripple just has not gotten into the flow of this basketball game. Bryant onto Lenore. Mark Lenore has not been a factor. He has not scored as of yet. Bryant can't get it. Rebound put back up and good by Kevin Bond. Bond's getting a starting call tonight in place of sophomore Walter Shelman. For Kevin, that is his first field goal, his 4th point. Final 18 seconds of the quarter. Dwayne Futch bounce down low to Watts, knocked away, picked up in the middle by Jelks. Mad scramble, loose ball. Who's got it? Finally, it's thrown up court. Here is Hayden. And Thomas gets his first two, and we're down to the final couple of seconds. One, that's it, into the first quarter. And the Warren Central Warriors lead the state's #1 and unbeaten Broad Ripple Rockets by a score of 20-14.
I know my business. And when that business needs a loan, I need a bank with a strong business profile. One that knows it sometimes takes money to spread your wings. And where I can rely on not just one business specialist, but a whole flock of them. I need American Fletcher.
AFNB, the money, the attitude, the team for corporate lending.
I took the business advantage.
Different. Hills has one of the biggest selections of girls' dresses anywhere. More styles, more sizes, more colors than any store we know. The same quality as fancy department stores. But girls' dresses at Hills are priced low every day. And the selection, no other store even comes close to Hills.
We're a different kind of department store. You ought to be shopping Hills and stuff.
Here's how the Broad Ripple Rockets got here. They won the Hinkle sectional on this floor, beating Lawrence Central with ease and a tough battle with Cathedral. Then that classic that we televised last Saturday night with the North Central Panthers. And then, of course, last night's win by 10 over the Hornets of Howe, 69-59. Jake Thompson did a good job with the Howe Hornets ball club, Tom Eschen, because they didn't have a lot to work with.
Well, no, and then some of the players that he did have were not available during the tournament. See right here, the first half, the field goal percentage very much in favor of the Warriors.
Jelks coming up short. Rebound yanked out of there by Yogi Henderson. In the first quarter, Warren Central had 4 players scoring 4 points. Good well-balanced scoring. An air ball. Lenore's got it. Out to Jelks. Now here comes Mark Lenore. He is a candidate for Mr. Basketball, but he was shut out scoring-wise in the first quarter of play. Seldom touched the ball, as a matter of fact. Inside to Jelks, stripped away and a foul. It'll be on Craig Looper, I believe, and on Craig, personal foul number 1. That is the 3rd foul against Warren Central in this contest. Warren Central's record is 21-4. Now, one of those wins was actually a forfeit. They had been beaten by Martinsville in triple overtime. The Artesians had used an ineligible player and therefore had to forfeit, so the official score goes down 2-0. But they still have a good record nonetheless at 21-4. 6-point lead, Warren Central. Good move into the middle that time by Thomas Hayden. Hayden's second bucket. So Hayden, Bryant, Jelks, and Bonds each have 4 points, and that comes to 16.
Broad Ripple's getting a little better organized in their offense. They have Shellman in the ball game now to begin this second quarter.
Into the hands of Butts, and a whistle beneath the hoop that belongs to Broad Ripple. Shellman, if it's the same Walter that we saw last Saturday night, Tom, makes things happen when he gets
Well,
out
he's
there.
a very competitive young man. He's sophomore. Number 44, you see him having given the ball here to Lenore.
Warren stays in that zone defense. Very blind on the near side. I hear it's Shellman, about whom Tom was just talking. Rebounded by Jeff George. Broad Ripple's getting the shots, but not very many second opportunities now in contrast to the first couple of minutes of this basketball game. George one-on-one, gets a pick by Henderson, cannot use it very well, though, being guarded by Hayden. Rebound down into the floor, pulled out by Broad Ripple's Patrick Jelks. Lenore all the way in. And a blocking foul called against Broad Ripple. I'm sorry, against Warren Central, Yogi Henderson. Number 1 on him.
Well, Lenore had the ball in his possession. He was going to do something with it right here. He went up kind of double pumped. Henderson didn't quite have the position on him, and he drew the foul. And Broad Ripple is 4 of 4 at the free throw line after 1 quarter, and Lenore will have an opportunity to score his first point of the ball game here.
Mark Lenore made the Star News All-City Tournament team this year. Of course, Broad Ripple won the city. He was also named to the All-Sectional squad last Saturday. He is the team captain of this ball club, as he was last year. And last year, he averaged 25.5 points a game. He was the top scorer in Marion County and number 10 in the state. Had the most points scored in the game in the county. 41 against Arlington. Was voted the team's most valuable player. First point of the night, as Tom pointed out. That chops the lead to a couple, 20-18. It was 20-10 not all that long ago. Warren Central's been up by a couple of by 10 points on a couple of occasions. Jeff George, nice move, got the hoop.
Well, that's what they want to do when they have to set up half court against Ripple's defense, is try to post either George or Henderson low. And when they've done that, they've been pretty successful. But the other times, they've kind of forced some shots.
Here's Lenore outside. And if he gets wound up, look out, because he can shoot lights out. He had a career-high 44 points earlier this year. That came in a game against Park Tudor. 22-20, 2-point lead, Warren Central. They have not trailed since back at 2-0. Now Lenore with the rebound. Warren Central back on defense in a hurry. Rockets have a chance to tie for just the second time in this contest. Terry Bryant, cross court. Rebounded by Bryant, put back up, tie ball game. Bryant now with a half a dozen. That's the first tie since 2. 5 minutes and 20 seconds to play. There'll be a change. Gary Jacob going to the bench across the way for the Warren Central Warriors. Well, they got it down inside, and a good defensive play by Lenore, but apparently making some body contact and marked with personal foul number 2. Tom, the middle seemed to open up that time. You look at it again, it got some working room in here.
Well, there's one thing characteristic about good ball clubs, teams that win consistently, is that they get the ball inside. And you saw that Davis did have Lenore on his back, and it was a nice pass outside made by Looper away from the defender. And when Davis had it that close, you're very prone to foul the person under that situation, although I think Lenore's going to have to back off a little bit with 2 fouls right at this point in the ball game.
Devin Davis, 6'5" sophomore, had 4 points in the win last night over Ben Davis. His average is 3.5 per game. As a club, Warren Central shoots 64%, Broad Ripple 67% from the line. From the field, Warren Central a 47% field goal shooting club, 48 for Broad Ripple, so neither ball club shoots lights out.
Well, but we haven't had a miss tonight on either club from the free throw line, that being the first 2 attempted by Warren, and they're going to bring another man into the ball game, Jenkins Mansfield, and Davis will go to the sideline. Mansfield is a 6'4" senior.
Jenkins did play in last night's win over Ben Davis, but did not score. It's back to a 2-point lead, 24-22. Warren Central, 5:05 to play, first half.
I think maybe Bill Smith recognized he may need Shellman's quickness in just as much as he needed Bond's height.
Bad pass. It's a breakaway. Leading is Looper. Craig missed it, but there's all kinds of gold shirts up there, and Yogi Henderson comes away with his 6th point. They really hit the boards and got up court in a hurry that time.
Very well.
Here is Sheldon, now back down right side to Bryant. Bryant's had his hands on the ball a great deal. Here's a walking violation called outside on Broad Ripple.
Well, the Rockets are going to make a change. They're bringing Mike Dodd in. He stands 6'4", as Patrick Jelks goes to the sideline. Coach Bill Smith does play a lot of his bench. He gets them in the ball game from various moments. They're going to have another change. Thomas Hayden re-entering, and Mark Lenore is going to the sideline.
It may be that Bill Smith would just like for Mark to sit and get a picture of what's happening out there for a while. He just hasn't been much of a factor. He's got 4 points and a field goal and 2 out of 2 from the line. 4-point lead Warren Central, 26-22 with 4.5 minutes to go in the half. Here's Jeff George. George has a pretty darn good touch, I'll tell you that. He's a 6'3" senior. He had 12 points last night. Leads the club in scoring at 19-1 per game.
Notice the room they're giving Bryant over here, the defense. Now he's going to take that shot. And that may shorten the distance between he and the defender.
He's handled the ball, Tom, about 60% of the time, it seems like, for Broad Ripple on offense so far. Warren Central with Butch at one of the point guard spots. George lost it, got it back, bounced it inside to Jenkins Mansfield. Rebounded by Terry Bryant. Draw pass up court, deflected, picked up by Warren Central.
Yeah, Bryant got a bad situation right there to try and get the ball over the man's head at midcourt, and that cost him a possession.
Good aggressive of what appears to be a man-to-man defense by Broad Ripple, and a foul. And it'll be on number 12, Thomas Hayden. First foul on Thomas Hayden, who started one of the guard spots in this ball game.
Each team now with 3 personal fouls.
Yogi Henderson, a tight end on that Warren Central football team, coached by Jerry Stauffer. He's headed towards Southern Illinois.
Well, it's a correction here. That's the 5th team foul on the Rockets, and Henderson will be at the line.
First miss. Four-point lead for Warren Central with 3:25 to play. Shot comes up short. The rebound comes to Dwayne Futch. They fill the lanes again. Futch takes it all the way in, gets the shot. Won't get the roll, though. And the rebound down to Broad Ripple. Thomas Hayden. Again, down in that right corner is Bryant. Now back out to Shillman. Good aggressive rebound by Hayden. And the rebound on the other side by Jenkins Mansfield.
Well, there was a sequence right there where Warren really did not work hard to get to that defensive board, and they were very fortunate they came out without a score.
Jeff George from long range.
Well, that lengthened the distance to the basket right there. That 25-footer.
George becomes the first player at either ball club to hit double figures. He has 10, including 6 on 3 field goals here in the second quarter. And the lead goes back to a half a dozen again. Across the way of the long rebound. Pulled out of there by Henderson. Quickly on the near side to Mansfield. Tracks it down and cannot maintain control. On the Warren Central bench is a guy named Dave Green. His brother is Bill Green, the coach at Marion. We were chatting before the ball game. He said he called his brother today and said, wouldn't it be nice if we met in the state championship ball game? So they've already got a brotherly rivalry going here.
Well, they're still both alive, very much so, and we're going to have a timeout right here.
Indeed we are, Tom Hession. 2:23 to play first half. It's 30-24. Warren Central's got the lead and hanging tough.
When I shop for my family, they don't say much about the brands I choose, except for Mike Sell's potato chips. They say it has to be Mike Sell's because they really do taste better. That's because they're prepared in 100% premium peanut oil, which makes them so naturally delicious. Try Mike Sell's. It's a potato chip with a taste that speaks for itself.
The potato chip that speaks for itself. Mike Sell's potato chips.
Grab the news right at your door. Get everything the paper's for. You can't lose when you grab the news. Get what, where, when, why, and who. What just happened and what to do. Newsworthy people like to grab the news. Stay in touch, learn so much. People on the move. Grab the news, and let the news grab you.
We have a busy day next Saturday starting at 11 o'clock. Regional winners from Columbus, Richmond, and Newcastle will join the winner of this game to square off with the Indianapolis semi-state title. Tom Hession and I will be on the air at 8 o'clock again that night to see who will go to the Final Four at Market Square Arena. Full day of great high school basketball here on Channel 4 starting at 11 o'clock next Saturday morning. Right now, the state's #1 team down by half a dozen. They trailed by 10 twice. Jelks missing. The rebound knocked out of bounds belongs to Broad Ripple. And I'm a little surprised, Tom, and I shouldn't be, I guess, because I've been told that Warren was an aggressive club. They're much more aggressive defensively than I thought they might be.
Well, they have been for most of the ball game.
Shellman, rebound long. Pulled off by Jelks, taken away, out of bounds too. Broad Ripple again.
Broad Ripple made 3 changes in their lineup during the timeout. Greg Harris came in along with Danny Miles, and Patrick Jelks re-entered. And along with those, they have Bonds and see who else. Shellman stayed in.
Shellman shot hits the rim. That's his second one that's going over the top of the backboard, out of bounds to the Warren Central Warriors. Warren Central has a school record for consecutive victories, 13, and a school record for wins in a season, 21, all under a first-year head coach. Gary Jacob coming in replacing Mike Copper, who stayed in that Warren Central school system. He himself was an outstanding coach, and Gary has just done a remarkable job this year. They got the roll. Craig Looper now with his first 2 points in the period. He has 6 on the night, and the lead goes back to 8 again with 1:35 to play in the first half. Out of bounds to Broad Ripple.
Looper was held to only 2 points in their victory last night over Ben Davis, and as you indicated, that last hoop gave him 6. As Yogi Henderson, right there you see Yogi wiping off with a towel. He's coming in to replace Mansfield. And the starting forwards for the Rockets, Bryant and Hayden, both coming back. And they're also going to bring Eric White in for the first time here in this ball game. Number 30 right there, Eric White.
Wide as a 5'10 junior, so they lose some height, but to pick up some speed with his presence, along with that young man, Walter Shulman, only a sophomore at 5'10. Hayden in the middle, deflected away. Jelks managed to get it back. Jelks goes up, misses, and the rebound batted long and saved by Ball Ripple. Nothing doing for Shulman. Minute 13 to play first half. Well, Warren Central's zone has not been a passive zone. They've really been aggressive with it. Here is Shulman. Walter, first 2 points. He averages 9.8, had 8 points in the victory last night over the Hornets of How High. Inside a minute, let's see how Warren Central plays the final 55 seconds. Lobbing it inside to Yogi Henderson. Good turnaround move, but a great defensive play by Jelks.
Jelks really fenced what was occurring very well and got there just at the right time. Made a nice defensive play.
Shulman again. And Walter has started to light things up. Back-to-back field goals. Tops the lead to 4 at 32-28 with 32 seconds to play in the half. Here's Jeff George. Rebounded deep along that baseline by Looper. Back out to Jeff. Won't get it again. And a rebound by Warren Central. Put back up strong, and it still won't go by Devin Davis. Out of bounds to Warren Central. Oh, they're shooting him from everywhere, Tom.
I'll tell you, George, all he needs to do is be in the offensive court, and he's aiming it toward the hoop.
Once he crosses the timeline,
that's right.
He's within range. 15 seconds to play in the half. 32-28 Warren Central. After trailing 2-0, they have not looked back. They've been ahead by 10 on 2 occasions. Here is George. Rebounded by Warren. Back up, and a great play by Devin Davis. He has a half a dozen, and that's the end of the first half. And it has been a wild affair here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. The halftime score is Warren Central 34 and the Broad Ripple Rockets 28. We'll be back with our halftime show in a minute.
Very few Indiana farmers receive the coveted Master Farmer Award each year. John Hardin Jr. of the Danville community has received that honor. And like most farmers, he has a large investment to protect. That's why John and other Master Farmer winners have chosen Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group. Founded by farmers over 100 years ago, Indiana Farmers now insures thousands of Indiana farms.
Our family has been with Indiana Farmers Mutual for 3 generations, and we've been well pleased with the service.
See the yellow pages for our independent agent nearest you.
The care and concern your Hook's prescription receives doesn't end with dispensing the prescribed medication. Even the container in which your prescription is placed is important. When needed, Hook's prescriptions go into special moisture and light-resistant containers to assure full potency. And child-resistant caps are provided unless you specify otherwise. Packaged and labeled just for you. From Hook.
We like to see you smile.
After he's been elbowed, fouled, and yelled at, how does Wayman Tisdale fire up that famous smile?
Breakfast at McDonald's.
And right now, Wayman's smile is a full 100-point grin. Because with any breakfast sandwich and drink at McDonald's, you get
free hash browns.
Free hash browns with your breakfast at McDonald's.
Tell them McTiz sent you.
You be the leader of the pack in a Pontiac. Pontiac from the Pontiac pack.
The pack is back to heat up your streets with Pontiac's front-wheel drive Hot Ones. Sunbirds, sticker price to bring you in from the cold. Grand Am, this one sizzles with excitement. Pontiac 6000 gets you where you're going. Tells them you've arrived. Get Pontiac's front-wheel drive pulling for you at your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers.
The Pontiac pack.
We are back live now at Hinkle Fieldhouse. It is a 34-28 halftime score, as you see on your screen. The Warren Central Warriors trailed early in this ball game by a count of 2-0. Then they tied the ball game at 2, then ran off a series of 8 more points to go in front by a score of 10-2, and a couple of times, as a matter of fact, led by 10-point differentials. Tom Hession has joined us here at halftime. And, Tom, you have brought along not just your expertise, but a special halftime guest for us here tonight also.
Well, we're going to have an opportunity to talk to Steve Kaufman, the head basketball coach at North Central Ball Club, who put on quite a show out here last Saturday night. Coach, how do you assess the goings-on here this evening in this first half?
Well, Warren's played really well, and I think Ripple's just gone through some spurts. Coach Smith, I think, is trying to save Lenore from getting another foul. he set quite a few kids down, and I think the second half's going to, really be a barn burner in the second half. Because Ripple, as we found out last week, is really an excellent ball club, and they've got 6, 7 good players. So I think we'll really see a real close game second half.
Well, I anticipate it's going to be that way. The board work has been very strong on the part of Warren Central, and they're really getting the ball out quickly, aren't they?
Yeah, I think maybe from last week's game, we threw the long pass against them a few times. That might be one reason they're looking to go quick. And with George, obviously, he can throw the ball. So I think, Warren's really playing well, but I think we'll see Ripple come back and play awful strong second half.
Coach, thank you very much. And once again, congratulations on the effort your ball club put on here last Saturday night. You had a great season.
Yeah, the kids did an excellent job. It was a great game. Too bad somebody had to lose. It was 2 good teams, and both of us, I think, really played well.
You certainly did. Thank you. Coach Steve Coughlin, the head basketball coach at North Central High School.
Thank you, Steve, very much. Again, the halftime score is 34-28. You saw at the bottom of your screen some of the other regional scores. I tell you what, we'll take a break, then we'll come back and let Tom and I just sort of touch on those for you. Again at halftime, 34-28, Warren Central leads the state's #1 ranked Broad Ripple Rockets.
I opened my IRA for the tax break, but now I want more. I'll only get it from a bank, and one that knows how much I need my nest egg. One that offers me a choice of IRA options to help me grow strong, and pays high interest that goes even higher as my IRA takes off. I'll only get it from American Fletcher.
AFNB, smarter IRAs for smarter people.
I transferred for the IRA Advantage.
In a minute.
When you're last in line for hot water, isn't it nice to know gas heats water twice as fast for half the cost? That's the gas advantage. Come home to the comfort of natural gas.
Summer in the city, back of my neck feeling dirty, I'm ready. Feels so good, so good. Coming down 7 up, crashing on the fun. Pouring cool and clear on everyone. 7 up, feels so good. Coming down. Feels so good.
Different. Hills has more for ladies, like these famous name jeans, each an exceptional value at just $9.97. You could pay more elsewhere for Bonjour, P.S. Gitano, or Rustler by Wrangler, but Hills price just $9.97 each every day. Just part of one of the largest selections of ladies' jeans anywhere.
Different kind of department store. You ought to be shopping Hills.
Jerry Baker back with Tom Hessian. That's the halftime number here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. 6-point lead for the Warren Central Warriors. Tom, we have some other scores coming in from around the state, particularly those regional sites that will feed in to the semi-state next Saturday. Here's one right here. Connersville leading South Dearborn. Connersville apparently is for real.
Well, Coast Base Milwaukee has a ball club that works very hard. They do a good job with the talent they have. They had an overtime ball game earlier in the season with South Dearborn, in which they won, so that one may stay close the rest of the way.
Also on the scoreboard, Shelbyville. You know something about those guys down there in Shelbyville.
Well, they've got an outstanding group of kids this year, a lot of talent, good quickness, the most quickness Shelbyville has had on a basketball team since I've been observing them over the past 20-some years. Bloomington South, a quality ball club. They were here in the semi-state a year ago.
And the third winner to come in would come out of Newcastle, and right now Greensburg has to host Trojans down by 4 at the midway point.
Well, Greensburg, a ball club right now, I think they've won 11 consecutive basketball games. They have great shooters. You can see by 40 points at halftime. They know how to play the offensive game. That one will go down probably pretty close to the end before it's settled also.
And I'm sure in what is in front of a capacity crowd at the Wigwam, it is Anderson leading Noblesville by, I believe, 37-33, I think they told us at halftime.
I tell you, the red and green comes alive when they play tournament basketball, don't they?
It is a great place to go watch basketball, no doubt about that. The matchups next Saturday would have the winner here playing that Richmond winner, either South Dearborn or Connersville, and then the winners at Columbus playing the winner at Newcastle. Tom, you had some first half stats to
we have
quickly run by.
Stats that show that Broad Ripple really has not shot very well, which you viewers observing this have been able to denote. They hit only 11 of 32 from the field in the first half, 34%. They were, however, perfect, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Warren Central, on the other hand, hitting 48% from the field. They were good on 16 of 33 and have had only 3 opportunities at the free throw line and have hit 2 of them. 6-5 the turnovers. Warren Central 5 more rebounds.
Jeff George leads the Warren Central scoring. He has 10 points, and most of those have come from outside the 15-foot range. You suggested we're not putting down. We're just saying that they've got a range. As soon as you come across the timeline, you're within their shooting range, it seems.
Yeah, he really does. They had an opportunity early to get him posted down low, and he was very successful then, but he does shoot. He has a quick shot, just like the quick release of the football.
Another score just handed me here, Tom Hession. At Marion, it is Huntington North leading the Giants of Marion by a score of 44-41. They had a good ball game earlier in the year.
That's one of those situations where Huntington has one of their finer ball clubs and figure they have to get the job done in the regional this year. Marion coming back from a state championship. And, of course, if you can beat them there in that regional, you have an opportunity to go a long way.
Well, we're set almost for the second half of this championship game at Hinkle Fieldhouse. It is Warren Central's game to win or lose right now. They lead the state's #1 team by 6, 34-28. Back in a minute.
To John Kaiser, who had 6 grand openings in 3 days, Republic Airlines awards the first-class upgrade perk.
He's earned it.
To Gary McKee, who had to laugh at the same joke 6 times, Republic awards the executive suite perk.
You've earned it.
And to Nell McCarran, who had to dress for success in 6 cities, Republic awards a free trip after only 20,000 miles.
I've earned it.
We make you feel like flying. Republic Airlines.
After he's been elbowed, fouled, and yelled at, how does Wayman Tisdale fire up that famous smile?
Breakfast at McDonald's.
And right now, Wayman's smile is a full 100-point grin. Because with any breakfast sandwich and drink at McDonald's, you get
free hash browns.
Free hash browns with your breakfast at McDonald's.
Tell them McTiz sent you.
One of only a few select Indiana farmers to receive the coveted Master Farmer Award, Mr. Warren Harlan of the Terre Haute area knows that farming 1,800 acres isn't easy. And like many other farmers, he has a huge investment to protect. So he needs the very best in farm insurance and service. That's why he chose Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group, insuring Indiana farms for over 100 years.
Indiana Farmers Insurance Group is a company that you can count on and depend on.
See the yellow pages for our independent agent nearest you.
Opportunity only knocks once. And when it knocked at my door, I needed a loan to answer. So I looked to the bank that makes it easy to get a loan. The one that offers more lending choices than anybody. To loan me what I need in a way that's easy to handle. I look to American Fletcher.
AFMD. Get the right loan for the right reason right away.
I got the loan advantage.
Tom, we touched on these briefly. Here are the, I guess, semi-official halftime numbers here.
Well, you can see the rebounds. Warren Central with 5 more, but they've had an opportunity to get more rebounds off their defensive board with Broad Ripple missing so many times, hitting only 11 of 32 for 34%. Other than that, there's nothing particularly revealing. The turnovers have been kept down, really, considering the type ball game it is.
It has been a much more up and down the floor basketball game. Now, had this been Ben Davis playing, as we anticipated was a possibility, I would have expected this kind of a game. I'm a little surprised that Warren Central's going out and trying to run with these guys.
Well, I think that Warren figures that they probably have maybe a shade more quickness than Broad Ripple, an ability to do things on the move somewhat better than Broad Ripple. But we're going to see how that works out here in the second half. Shellman starting the second half for Bonds. Other than that, Broad Ripple's other 4 starters are in there, and Warren's going to begin with the 5 that started the ball game.
Yeah, the alternating possession rule. It's Warren Central's basketball. George posted inside, missed the shot. The rebound comes back out long to Craig Looper. Looper, 12-footer, and George will get tagged with a personal foul. Jeff trying to come in from behind to pick up that rebound as his second personal foul of his basketball game. We'll look at it again.
There's the shot taken by Looper, and it comes off to the right-hand side, and they've got Hayden inside, and George is on his back, as you saw, and picked up the foul.
We're back live now. 7.5 minutes to play. Third period just getting underway. The Broad Ripple Rockets with their 26-0 mark hanging out here. They're #1 in the state, and they have struggled on occasion, but have managed in each instance to come away scot-free. Here is Lenore with number 3. Mark Lenore coming in from behind. Now, Mark did not have a very good first half. Total, he had only 4 points.
Well, it's a tough call. He gets in between a couple of ball players here. You see him right there. Actually, Davis came over the top of Lenore, and it could have been called either way, but it goes against Lenore, his third, and that limits his movement a little bit here the remainder of the ball game.
Jeff George is the top scorer for both ball clubs with a total of 10, 6 of those coming on field goals in the second period. Long-range shot is short. Rebound followed up and scored by Craig Looper. Looper now with 8. Craig averaging 12.5 points per ball game and 4.3 rebounds. We're going to get a change in the lineup for Broad Ripple the first opportunity.
Looper's been a big factor in the Warren offense tonight, much more so than I thought he would be.
Schultz missing. Rebound by Broad Ripple, up and good. Thomas Hayden. Hayden with a 13-7 average, now with a total of 6. Up court, Warren Central misses. They thought they should have had a foul, to no avail. Here is Jelks, deep right side. Here's Hayden. Hayden misses. George has got the rebound. Quickly out to Dwayne Futch. Near side pass to Looper. And Looper has 10. So he joins Jeff George in double figures. And it's an 8-point lead again for the Warren Central Warriors at 38-30.
Futch has the lead on assists for Warren, and so he got another one there. And there's a shot that's typical.
Mark Lenore, deep baseline, half a dozen points. Turnover gets the ball back to the Broad Ripple Rockets. And a timeout will be taken by Broad Ripple. Bill Smith wants to talk it over. 6:19 to play in the third period. It's still a 6-point lead for the Warren Central Warriors over the Rockets at Broad Ripple High.
You'll be the leader of the pack in a Pontiac. Pontiac from the Pontiac pack.
The pack is back to heat up your street with Pontiac's front-wheel drive Hot Ones. Sunbird, sticker price to bring you in from the cold. Grand Am, this one sizzles with excitement. Pontiac 6000 gets you where you're going. Tells them you've arrived. Get Pontiac's front-wheel drive pulling for you at your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers.
It's easy to take for granted how much some people have until you're reminded how much others don't. These days, it takes a special kind of person to help make things better for all of us. You've always known Hook's pharmacists are an important part of your healthcare needs. It's good to know they're an important part of your community, too.
Looks like to see you smile. We like to see you smile.
On Saturday the 29th, a couple of weeks to begin our live statewide coverage of the 76th Annual Boys State Championship at 10:30. And once the dust settles, we'll take to the air again at 7:30 that night and see who will wear the crown of 1986 Indiana Boys Basketball State Champs. And boy, that baby is up for grabs. It's a wide open field this year.
Well, there's another one by Lenore. We said the last one was typical. That's the kind of shooting he's had all year, and they get beat back.
Hooper. He has all 6 of Warren Central's 7.5 points. And it's 40-32. Here is Lenore again. And it lost away, but last touch by Warren Central. Lenore looks like a guy who is suddenly possessed a little bit, Tom. He's trying to get some points now instead of letting them just happen.
A little bit of frustration, possibly.
But is fouled by Walter Sheldon, number 1 on Walter. And the second against the ball club here in the second half.
Well, you know, the previous time down, Warren beat them badly. Nobody back, and this time Shellman's trying to catch up back here with Futch. And he gets him on the arm, the foul called, and we're going to have Dwayne at the free throw line. Dwayne Futch got 21 last night. He has 112 assists, which is by far and away the most on this Warren ball club. Been a very key performer in their 20-plus victory season thus far.
Gary Jacobs says of Dwayne Futch, quote, my opinion, one of the best point guards around. Kind of a quiet, hard-working young man, averaging 15.2 points per ball game. Had 21 of the win over Ben Davis last night. Leads the club in steals, 3.5 a game. Leads the club in assists with 4.7 per ball game. Some ice or something on the floor and getting that straightened away. It's been a tough week for Broad Ripple. The Indianapolis Board of School Commissioners talking of turning Broad Ripple High School into a junior high. They had a meeting last Wednesday. Bill Smith was there. And I talked to him before the game. He said, hey, that was serious business. Indeed, it was. We don't know what's going to transpire, but much concern on the part of the folks involved with Broad Ripple High School, both athletically and, of course, scholastically. Substitution now, Terry Bryant coming back into the lineup for the Broad Ripple Rockets, replacing Kevin Bonds, who goes out with 1 foul and 4 points, and all 4 of those points scored in the first quarter.
Yeah, these last almost 6 minutes, but 5 minutes plus of the third quarter are very important for Broad Ripple. With the score now 9 points down, and they have an opportunity right here to cut it to 7.
5 minutes, 45 seconds to play. Third period of activities. Warren Central, they've not trailed since they were down by a 2-0 count. Jump ball, the arrow pointing in favor of the Broad Ripple Rockets.
Well, you see Davis on the rebound coming up behind Jelks, and they call a tie-up rather than a foul, and Broad Ripple has the possession. They're still trying to get it in the hoop.
Jelks couldn't get it. He'll try again. Still won't go. Lenore can't get it. Loose ball out of bounds to Broad Ripple, I believe. Last touch off the leg of Devin Davis. Tell you, neither one of these clubs is bashful, Tom. They go right at each other.
Well, that's the competitive spirit that the members of these ball clubs have.
You saw a shot of Bill Smith across the way. Well, I tell you, when they sat the coaches down there with the bench decorum rule this year, that really affected a lot of them, and Smitty is one of them. You can almost see him busting at the seams over there trying to get his instructions out to his players. Shellman makes the save. Now goes across to Bryant. Can't get it. And Jeff George has the rebound. The lob up the far side to Dwayne Butts. They come near side and a walking violation on Craig Looper. That time, they simply got out of control, Tom.
Well, they did get out of control, but that's the third time now that they've really beaten Broad Ripple's defense back badly, and Ripple is going to have to handle that situation or they may be in for more trouble.
It is a 9-point lead for the Warren Central Warriors at 41-32 with just inside 5 minutes to play in the third period. Lenore, yes, sir. And Martin now with 8 points. He had 4 points in the first half and a field goal and 2 out of 2 from the line, and a pair of third period field goals makes it 8.
Well, he hit that shot, but I noticed all 5 Broad Ripple players were inside a dotted line when the shot was taken.
Here is George missing from about 22 or 23 feet away, and the rebound down into the hands of Mark Lenore. Lenore lost it to Jeff George. Here's the lob pass up the near side to Looper. He tracks it down, gets it across, and they got the point from Dwayne Butts. Butts with 7. Warren Central has just flat beaten Broad Ripple at the other end.
Well, you see how deep all the offensive players are getting when the shot is taken. You saw it right there. And they're going to throw long again.
Shelvin got the field goal as Broad Ripple's in. At the other end, get the bucket to Craig Looper. He has 8 points in the period, 14 points on the night. 45-36. Warren Central just won't go away.
Well, let's watch Broad Ripple's 5 players, if we can see them here, and see where they're positioned when the ball is shot. There's a 3-second violation.
What you're saying, Tom, is then on the offensive board, they've got everybody packed inside for the offensive rebound. If they don't get it.
If they don't get it, they're in trouble, and it's been demonstrated here in this third period, particularly a little bit in the first quarter.
Jelks is going out, and in comes Michael Dodd, a 6'4 junior. Michael played in the first half, did not score. 45-36. If Warren scores here, they've got their biggest lead of the ball game. 3 minutes and 45 seconds to play, third period. Well, they've got Yogi Henderson, the starting center, a long way from where he's supposed to be. Now Butts sets up at point guard. George sets the pick on the left side. Butts got the hoop. Well, I'll tell you, this Warren Central ball club right now is playing like a team inspired. They got an 11-point lead. That's the biggest lead they've had tonight. At the other end, Michael Dodd.
Nice pass that time from the outside, and there's a foul.
One of the Warren Central players on the floor as you look at Gary Jacob. Gary, a graduate of Cathedral High School, Mount Marty College in Yankton, South Dakota, 3-year varsity player there.
Well, you see, the Shellman kind of got his feet caught up inside there and trying to prevent the inbounds pass and accidentally tripped the man and was whistled.
Second foul on Shellman, third against the ball club here in the second half. The numbers favor Warren Central again. Rebound save by Looper. Thrown back in and finally chased down by Kevin Bond. Quickly up the near side. Here's Thomas Hayden. Shuffles off to Lenore. Lenore offensive foul. That'll be 4 on him. Now we'll see what Bill Smith decides to do. With 3:04 to play third period, can he leave his big gun in there?
Well, here's a big foul just starting the ball game as he bangs into George. George does what he's supposed to, act like he's really banged and falls down. I think he has no choice but to get him out of there. And we're going to have a timeout first.
Indeed, a timeout taken by the Warren Central Warriors. They've got a 47-38 lead with 3 minutes and 4 seconds to play in the third period. There is a look at Bill Smith, the head coach of the Broad Ripple Rockets. Smitty, a graduate of Indianapolis Wood High School, lettered in football, basketball, and track, won 12 letters there. As a senior, was the most valuable player in football and basketball. Then went on to Anderson College, picked up 8 letters in football and basketball, and finally a master's degree from Indiana State. And with the timeout, of course, he can get up and talk to the official, and they do this, I think, to vent steam once in a while, John.
Well, that's absolutely true. He was trying to get Troy Ingram's attention long before Ingram was willing to give him that courtesy, and finally he told him to get back to the bench. He wants to know why some of these calls are not going the way he sees them, and certainly that's typical. As we indicated last week, they've undefeated ball club, and you build inside yourself some pressure that if we're of this caliber, then we have to be in that Final Four. We have to get to the final game. And it's a tough thing, but it's all part of the competitive situation, and he'll handle it well, and he's done a good job with the Broad Ripple program.
The winner here will play the winner of Richmond. South Dearborn playing Connorsville there. That'll be the first game next Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. Tom and I will have that broadcast for you. And then in the second ball game, it's Columbus winner, Bloomington South, playing Shelbyville right now, with the Golden Bears up against the winner at Newcastle, and Greensburg at halftime had Newcastle down by 4. So we're going to have a good semi-state 4 no matter who comes in here next Saturday. Just inside 3 minutes, third period, 47-38, Warren Central leads Broad Ripple. Out of bounds to Broad Ripple. The Rockets led 2-0. Warren came back and tied it at 2, and then into the process ran off 10 successive points. They led twice by 10 in the first half. They've had it up by as high as 11 here in the third period. They have never trailed. It's down 2-0. Good position on the board by Devin Davis. Wise thinking that time by Kwame Watts. He had nothing available to him. Watts takes it inside. Away, picked up, and scoring is Watts. Kwame now with 4. His average is 5-1. He had 10 in the win over Ben Davis last night, and the lead goes back to 11 again. An air ball put up there by Bryant. Out comes Warren Central again. This is Looper. Well, they don't waste any time, Tom. They just get it and go. Here is George. 15-footer off the glass.
Now, this is a big offensive sequence for Broad Ripple. They're kind of scrambling right here, and Hayden's going to take the shot. With Lenore out, they're not really too well organized as to what type of shot they want and who's going to take it. They've kind of been hitting at random.
Devin Davis, the young man who chased that ball down to the corner. Now they bring it across the timeline with Watts and a foul. And it'll be Kevin Bonds with his second personal foul, and the 4th against Broad Ripple here in the second half. Tom, we saw the same thing happen last week with North Central, and I've seen Broad Ripple play a couple of times this year. They seem to, at moments, just get totally discombobulated, and the next thing you know, they work their way right back into the contest.
Of course, a lot of that type of thing can occur when the other team is helping you along, and I don't know how much help Warren Central is going to be tonight. They appear to be very determined, very aggressive, and things seem to be falling into place for them.
Watts first hit with a charity stripe. George has got the rebound. Warren Central is 1 for 3 from the line of the second half. Jeff can't get it. Scramble is on. It'll be out of bounds, and last touch by Broad Ripple. Well, when things are going good, they're going good. Broad Ripple has not gone to the stripe here in the second half because Warren has committed only 1 personal foul.
I think that might have been Broad Ripple's ball had Bryant not picked it up on the line, but of course he didn't know that.
George deep in the corner. He has 14 points. Looper has 14 points. Butch now with 9. And it's 53-38. 15-point lead, the biggest of the ball game. And a whistle and a foul. It is against Warren Central. And I believe on Yogi Henderson.
Well, they're going to call the foul on George.
All right, that'll be 3 on Jeff then. Another substitution for Warren Central. Dwayne Futch, who had been out briefly, will come back into the lineup, and Jeff will go sit down because of what Tom pointed out was his 3rd personal foul. Jeff now with 14 points. And those 3 personal fouls. Terry Bryant, 77% free throw shooter.
the first miss for Broad Ripple at the line tonight after hitting 6 in a row.
Bryant had 8 points in the first half. He's drawn a blank in the second half. Terry cuts the lead to 53-39 with 1:10 to play. Third quarter. And a ball on Eric White. And if somebody just tuned in, Tom, they think this game was taped and we'd speeded the tape up because the rhythm has been, much like last Saturday night. I don't know how many people stopped me to tell me on Sunday and Monday how much they enjoyed the telecast. Well, the ball game was just one of those great games to televise. It just never stopped the same way here.
A lot of activity up and down the floor. People like that. And the officials are helping because they're not blowing the whistle just on every little town cap.
Here it comes again. Oh, this is a mad scramble, boy. Grab a guy and go with it.
This is a good example of what we were talking about.
Kevin Bonds will get the field goal, and Lord knows who gets the foul. We'll wait for him to dig out a body in that black and gold.
I think they're going to whistle that foul on
Watts. Number 1 on him. You look at it again, it just masses under the hoop down here. Kevin Bonds will go to the free throw line with a chance to convert the three-point play. He is 2 out of 2 from the stripe, hitting 62%. And Jeff George has come back into the lineup for Warren Central, replacing Kwame Watts, who goes out with 4 points and a foul. One good thing about it, boy, you better be in condition if you're going to play in either one of these ball clubs, Tom.
Well, it's required that. And there's a big free throw.
Bonds gets the three-point play. Substitution now for the Broad Ripple Rockets. Number 12, Thomas Hayden, who started at guard tonight, comes back into the lineup, replacing Kevin Bond. Bond goes out with 7 points, couple of fouls. Full court pressure coming from everywhere. 52 seconds to go, third period. 53-42, Warren Central. Warriors trail 2-0. They have led the rest of the way. The winner here is in the Sweet 16. Well, the action away from the basketball is just fierce. On your screen, you see superimposed the time left in the third period. Jeff George, good pass. Henderson couldn't find the handle, but they got the hoop anyway. It comes from Craig Looper. Looper has a 10-point third period, 16 in the ball game. Deflected away by Butch and saved by Broad Ripple. Now the steal by Looper and taken back. Now it's picked up by Butch. Ruger went for the uncontested layup.
Last 30-second sequence might be indicative of what Warren Central has in store for them.
We've gone through absolutely. We've gone through 3 periods. It's a 15-point lead for Warren Central, 57-42. 8 minutes of playing time remain.
When we found our first home, we wanted in the worst way. And now that we're moving up, we want to do it in the best way.
So we went where they're aggressively looking to write mortgages.
Where they put mortgage program variety and financing ease above all.
Yeah, and where the loan officers helped us glide over the usual hassles.
We went to American Fletcher.
American Fletcher. More mortgages for more people.
We're moving up.
With the mortgage advantage.
Here's a fact you can really warm up to. On the average, gas heat costs less than oil or electricity. That's the gas advantage, and that's why more people come home to the comfort of gas heat.
We are back live for the 4th and final period of this regional championship game. Jerry Baker along with Tom Heston at Hinkle Fieldhouse. A 15-point lead for the Warriors of Warren Central High School. And a foul call. It is on Walter Shellman. That'll be 3 on him. Tom, if Broad Ripple digs out of a 15-point hole, then they are indeed the #1 team in the state of Indiana. They're really going to have their medal tested now.
Well, Warren Central, the last couple of times with the basketball here, has demonstrated a lot more patience on their half-court offense By the way, that foul they indicated at the bench was on Bryant rather than Shellman, which makes him with 2.
All right. Looper had a great third period. He had 10 points. Shooting right now, Warren Central's hitting 53%. Broad Ripple hitting 32%. Time to can't beat anybody hitting 32%.
Well, that will get you beaten.
18 points for Looper. Bunch has 11. George has 14. Nobody in double figures for Broad Ripple. Out of bounds to the Rockets. Rebound advantage. 27-24 in favor of Warren Central. Lenore back in the lineup missing, and the rebound comes long to Devin Davis. Well, they have been in the right spot at the right time all night long.
Well, they really have. Lenore, now you're very limited in how you can use him. He about has to play outside, and those shots are going to have to fall if Broad Ripple's going to get back.
Jeff George, a little head fake. He took the defensive man right along with him from about 10 to 12 feet outside and got about a half a step on his man with some good quickness, beat him. Jelks rebounds. Basket will not count. Foul is called against Warren Central. We'll wait for Troy Ingram to make the call.
Well, I think it's going to go against Devin Davis, and that was quite an effort there by Jelks. He sprung up there very strong. Both teams are making lineup changes here in preparation for Broad Ripple to resume their offensive sequence.
The Rockets had 5 starters back at the beginning of this season, and they have been an outstanding ball club. Lenore lost the handle, and it came right down into the hands of Kwame Watts. And as is typical this game, they get it up court in a hurry, and George fires. In and out. Rebound. Foul. Whoa, look out. Take a look at Kevin Bond's defensive play.
Shot out of the corner by George was in and out, and Watts, who I've really been impressed with here in this tournament, goes up for the rebound shot, and Kevin Bond's got him pretty good.
It'll be Kwame Watts, 6'1" junior, 5.1 scoring average, 75% free throw shooter going to the line for the second time. He's 0 for 1. Warren Central's losses were to Ben Davis, 92-76, to North Central, 64-61, to Perry Meridian and the County Attorney, 83-67. They lost to Carmel, 88-62, their biggest loss of the year. Lenore missing. Tapped up by Jelks once, twice. It will not fall. And the foul is on Warren Central again. They also lost a triple overtime ball game to Martinsville, and later discovered that the Artesians had used an ineligible player and thus had to forfeit.
Watch the jumping ability of Jelks here. This is the second time in a row he got a tip on that. He tipped it again. Just a terrific effort by Patrick Jelks. And as a result, he's going to the free throw line.
Foul is on Yogi Henderson, number 2 on Yogi. 6:43 to play, 61-42, a lead for the Warren Central Warriors.
Well, they've been good at the free throw line tonight, but they've missed a couple here in this half, and it looks like they're going to need everything they can get.
That's the 5th point for Patrick Jelks. His average is 14-8 and leads the ball club in rebounds with 11 per contest. In a hurry they come. Here is Watts. Lets the traffic clear. Bounced inside to Yogi Henderson. Comes to George, and he gets hammered. Jeff George will go to the free throw line as we look at that play again.
Broad Ripple's defense has to come over to help with Henderson getting it low, and when they did, he knew that George was on the opposite side of the lane. And he drew the foul, and that'll send Jeff George for the first time tonight to the free throw line.
Foul is on Kevin Bonds, Tom. That's 4 on him. Jeff is a 71% free throw shooter, indeed leads the club in that category. Jeff had 12 points in the win over Ben Davis, leads the club in scoring with a 19-1 average. With that free throw you just saw, he has 17, going for 18. Won't get it. A 62-43 lead with 6.5 minutes to play in this basketball game. Lenore to Bryant. Jelks couldn't find the handle, but it was pulled out by Kevin Bonds and deflected away by Futch. Futch, cross court. Greg Luther. I'll tell you something. Warren Central can do no wrong right now.
Well, you see why Butch is leading by far in their assist category. He makes some great passes.
Bryant. Now we're at 5:55 to play. Lenore missing. Batted once, twice, and a foul on Yogi Henderson, number 3 on him. Now, of course, the clock becomes an ally of the Warren Central Warriors. They don't want to stop that baby.
Lenore, who's really had a tough night. He has 3 field goals, misses from the outside, as you see. And Henderson comes in and really takes a swat at it. And he gets Bonds committing a foul, and Kevin Bonds at the free throw line. And he's going to remain there. They wanted to bring Thomas Hayden back in, but he is to replace Bonds, and won't have to wait.
Bonds is 3 for 3, 7 points. Henderson lost it. Now it's taken away, and a foul on Jeff George. I have Jeff now for 4. 3 of those have come here in this half.
This ball did come out pretty well for Broad Ripple. You see Henderson there tries to get the pass away. It's deflected. Bonds picks it up, and George, in trying to retrieve it, got him on the arm and committed the foul, which is his 4th. And Bonds, who just missed here momentarily, is going to have another opportunity following this timeout.
5 minutes, 46 seconds of playing time remaining of the ball game. 64-43. It is Warren Central leading number 1 ranked Broad Ripple.
After he's been elbowed, fouled, and yelled at, how does Wayman Tisdale fire up that famous smile?
Breakfast at McDonald's.
And right now, Wayman's smile is a full 100-point grin. Because with any breakfast sandwich and drink at McDonald's, you get
free hash browns.
Free hash browns with your breakfast at McDonald's.
Tell them McTiz sent you.
One of only a few select Indiana farmers to receive the coveted Master Farmer Award, Mr. Warren Harlan of the Terre Haute area knows that farming 1,800 acres isn't easy. And like many other farmers, he has a huge investment to protect. So he needs the very best in farm insurance and service. That's why he chose Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group, insuring Indiana farms for over 100 years.
Indiana Farmers Insurance Group is a company that you can count on and depend on.
See the yellow pages for our independent agent nearest you.
This is going to be fun here. Tickets for the first annual Indiana-Kentucky Classic can be purchased by mail through the IHSAA mail headquarters. Mail orders should be sent to the IHSAA P.O. Box you see on your screen, 40650, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46240. Going down to Lexington and play the Kentucky Winners. That's just going to be an outstanding trip. 28% field goal shooting for Broad Ripple on 17 out of 61. Dilks.
First basket for him in this second half, and only the second of the ball game.
Five and a half minutes to play. Batted free. Warren Central's basketball. The Warriors lost 2 of their first 5 games this year. Then got it together. Then at one stretch lost 3 of 4. One of those, of course, was one that they finally got back because of the forfeit. But they had a couple of tough stretches this year. There is a foul on Bryant, number 3 on him.
Well, I think George has missed 7 ball games altogether.
He's had the flu, as have a number of the players. And as we pointed out earlier in the telecast time, it took a while for the football players, 5 of them on the squad, to get their basketball legs.
And getting used to a new coach, and Gary's certainly done a fine job, as you can tell here this evening.
Yogi Henderson, first point, second half, 7 of the night, averaging 8.9 with 7 rebounds per contest. Yogi with 3 personal fouls, looking for point number 8. It is 66-46, a 20-point lead for the Warren Central Warriors. Now there's troubles not in your set, I'll guarantee you that. Here's Lenore, bottom of the bucket. He finally hits double figures. Mark, At 25 in the win over Howell last night. Averaged 24 per game. One of the tops in the area, but not so tonight. Good baseline move. The shot won't go. Tapped up once. Wouldn't go again by Henderson. It is taken away and deflected out of bounds and last touch by Broad Ripple. Dwayne Butch has scored 11 points. 7 of those in the third period, but he's had a good ball game, Tom.
Well, he's going to take the ball right inside here after Jelks can't control it. And he misses the shot as Jelks blocks it from behind, and Warren still has it. Shot no good.
George missing. Jelks to the rebound. Comes out to Kevin Bonds. Here is Lenore. Mark has a dozen. Quickly, Warren Central wastes no time. 3-on-2 advantage. In the middle of that shot by Looper, he lost control of the basketball. Here is the lob to Lenore on the right side. With the score at 66-50, Lenore gets 2 more. Gary Jacob will not let this go much longer. In fact, he wants a timeout right this very minute, but he can't get his... Now, finally he does. In fact, it was Yogi Henderson clear over on this side of the floor that picked up on the fact that his head coach, Gary Jacob, wanted a timeout. Well, this is going to be a hectic closing 4.5 minutes, and let's thank the people who make our telecast possible, and they do one heck of a job. Our executive producer is Mike Davis. Our senior producer is Bob Caldwell. Tonight's game was produced and directed by our buddy Dean McDowell. Air control operator Mike Davenport. Unit manager Mark Emmons. Technical director Fred Lawrence. Our video engineers Mike Mettert, Paul Culler, Bill Keary. Cameras by Marisol Montoya, David Maltzby, Mark Fry, and Mark Fritz. Audio tonight handled by Dan Gaines. Dickie Blair on slow motion replay. A usual outstanding job. Floor director Mark Emmons without a seat, unfortunately. Statisticians John Osler, Gary Ross. They've had their hands full. Keep it up. Electronic graphics, and so is this lady, Susie Reese. And again, special thanks going out to Howard Kapp, the athletic director of Arsenal Technical High School and tournament director for the Indianapolis Regional Tournament. He has done a remarkable job in making all the pieces fit together, and we appreciate his help. By the way, Gary Lee is sitting a couple of chairs down from us, and immediately following our game and a talk with Tom Hession with the winning coach, Gary will join us, and we'll have a post-game scoreboard show that will include high school scores and a look at the NCAA tournament today. So Gary's got the scoreboard show right after this telecast, which has 4 minutes and 28 seconds on the scoreboard clock to play. Warren Central facing pressure by the Broad Ripple Rockets. Taken away, but they got it back. Good play by Looper, and now double dribble call.
A turnover that Broad Ripple badly needed. With 4:20 to go, they have an opportunity here, but they're going to have to make the most of each possession.
Just like they did last Saturday night against North Central when they were down by 3 with 12 seconds to go and somehow won the ball game. I believe that Looper got a piece of that shot.
Well, he did, and I'm not sure you want Shellman taking that shot.
Butch comes out of the traffic. The numbers were against him, so he wisely brings it back out, and now it's a one-man dribbling exhibition. He's getting help from Craig Looper. 4 minutes exactly to play in this basketball game, halfway through the 4th period. A 14-point lead. 16 rebounds in this ball game, Gary tells me, for Jelks. He has worked hard. Open man Watts turns it down, bounced inside. Henderson, and taken away.
Good defensive play there by Bryant.
Tipped away by Watts. And left touch by Kwame. Now, substitution, 42, Devin Davis back in for Warren Central. Broad Ripple shooting is still not very good. 21 out of 67. That is hard to believe they put up that many shots. Here is Lenore missing, and a foul called on Devin Davis, number 2 on him. Warren Central has hit on 28 out of 56. So they're right at the 50% mark, and Broad Ripple still hitting a very poor 32%. On the year, they're a 48% shooting ball club.
So the turnover statistics right there, and that's very amazing. 13 and 12 respectively with the type of ball game it's been. Lenore will be at the line. He's going to shoot a pair.
Scored his 1,000th point in a game earlier this year against the Tigers at Crispus Attucks High School. This young man is an intelligent young man. He's on the honor roll at Broad Ripple High. Carries a grade point average of 6.45 on an 8 scale. Word has him heading for Louisville, and of course they won in the NCAA tournament today, and there are those who think they might get to the Final Four this year. Lenore with 8 points in the 4th period. That equals his entire first 3-quarter output. So he has 16 points, averaging 24 per. Tom, if Warren Central hangs on to the ball, that just really takes Broad Ripple out of this basketball game.
Well, they're going to have to hit some free throws probably, but they couldn't hang on long enough to get to the line.
Walter Shellman and a foul
on Shellman.
On Shellman. Now he has 4. Nope, now he has 3.
Well, Walter Shellman, the sophomore, is going to take it up. He sees he's going to have to stop and take the jump shot, but his momentum carries him right into the defender, and the foul is called. You see Troy Ingram in the background giving the charge call, and Warren has it. After all the players we've seen out here on the floor tonight, each coach has his starting 5 in there right now, with the exception of Shellman being on there, but he is a normal starter.
Well, let's say if Broad Ripple has one more trick up their sleeve. They pulled some out of the bag this year, especially in tournament play that people thought they couldn't. Nice pass by George. Good pass under the hoop, and a good couple of points that time. George to Watts to Looper. He has 22. And Craig has had himself a ball game. Lenore with a 10-point fourth period. 18 points in the night. Now it's 2-on-1. Lone man back.
They don't need points. They need time right here.
2 minutes and 45 seconds to play. 68-56. The lead was 21. It has been chopped down now to a dozen. 2 minutes and 35 seconds to play. The Warren Central cheering section standing in unison across the way behind their Warriors bench. You can see the tension in the faces of the substitutes. Here is George. Jeff George with 19. Right at his average. Lenore. Long rebound pulled off by Patrick Jelks. He'll get it. Jelks with 9. And a timeout taken again. 2 minutes and 12 seconds to play. 70-58 is your score. Warren Central out in front. 17 rebounds now for Jelks in this ball game tonight. Well, again, Tom, we hope to be getting some final scores in from Richmond, Columbus, and Newcastle. At Richmond, South Dearborn playing Connorsville. Spartans are 20-3. At Columbus, Bloomington South against Shelbyville. Golden Bears up at halftime. And Newcastle is hosting Greensburg in the Newcastle Regional. At halftime, Greensburg had them down by 4. So whichever of those other 6 that comes in here, we're going to have ourselves a pretty good semi-state battle next week.
Well, we're going to have some good ball games. We're going to have some nice crowds. They'll all bring good following in from those particular communities. There you see the Broad Ripple bench. They're down by 12 with 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining. Coach Bill Smith trying to get things together. We understand that Connorsville is up 61-40. I don't know, is that a final score? 61-40 over South Dearborn. So if that's the case, they've had a big second half. Connorsville would play the winner. It is a final score, 61-40, and they'll play the winner of this ball game in the first contest next Saturday.
Well, don't go wandering too far away, because last Saturday, Tom and I were sitting in the same location thinking that North Central had just beaten Broad Ripple with 12 seconds to go when they were down by 3, and somehow they managed to win the ball game. There's a blocking foul directly in front of us called on Patrick Jelks. And of all the battles Jelks has been in tonight, that's his first personal foul.
Well, North Central was at a point last week where they had to do something that was a negative situation to get Broad Ripple in it. They did. They missed a rebound on a missed free throw. Right now, Warren Central has much more room for error.
Greg Looper had 2 points in the game against Ben Davis last night. He has scored 23 here today.
He's averaging just over 12 coming in.
They've had pretty good role players. Futch had a good third period. Jeff George had he's had a rather consistent ball game.
That was Hayden.
Hayden's first field goal in the fourth period, total of 8 points in the night. 72-60. Time running out with 1:58 to play. Warren Central has never won a regional. So easy the first time. Futch decided to try it again. 13 points.
Kind of looked like dropping that pass in the end zone with George throwing it.
Greg, I beg your pardon, Thomas Hayden scoring his 10th point of the game. Wow, Warren Central would love to trade field goals. That'd be ideal. Nice body fake and a foul. Patrick Jelks picking up number 2. With a minute and 35 seconds to play, it would appear, barring another major miracle of which they become famous for this year, that the Broad Ripple Rockets for the first time are going to taste defeat. And that would leave no undefeated teams in the state of Indiana. Terry Bryant set to come back into the lineup along with Walter Shellman for the Broad Ripple Rockets. All Warren Central really has to do right now is kind of keep its head together.
Watts has had his problems. That's his 3rd miss from the free throw line. He has yet to hit a free throw. Kwame is a junior, stands 6'1", had 10 points last night when they edged Ben Davis by 2.
Warren Central now 7 for 11 from the free throw spot. A minute, 34 seconds to play in this basketball game. Jeff George will inbound. He does to Yogi Henderson. His ball club leads by a dozen, 74-62. 1:29 to play. George makes a good play just to get the ball and save it. George down deep right side. Back out it comes to Futch. And Futch is fouled by Patrick Jelks. A couple of more scores just in time.
Well, we have from Columbus, Shelbyville has defeated Bloomington South 70-50. So Shelbyville would play in the 2nd game here next week, and Newcastle, a 2-point victory over Greensburg, 68-66. That would pit Shelbyville against Newcastle, and they had a 2- or 3-point ball game during the season. And Anderson has upset Noblesville by 2, 57-55 at Anderson.
Shellman left side, little 10-footer was good. Walter now with 8 points, averaging 9-8. 1 minute and 5 seconds to play in this basketball game. Not a foul on Terry Bryant. 4 on Terry. We are 1 minute and 1 second away from the final gun here at Hinkle tonight.
Another nice pass in this sequence we're going to see right here. Down to Watts, and Watts is going to find Looper on the other side, and Bryant has to go up and try for the block, and in doing so, he committed the foul.
Tom, this has to go down in the category of upset, but this was no fluke.
No, it was not a fluke. It's an upset if you're comparing records, I suppose, but from the standpoint of abilities of teams, Warren has acquitted themselves and shown everyone that they're a quality basketball team.
Yeah, they have gotten progressively better. Tom pointed out there was sickness on the ball club. The flu bug hit them. They were late getting started, had to reschedule games because of winning the 5A football title. And they have gelled at exactly the right time under first-year head coach Gary Jacobs. I have Looper here in the 4th period hitting 6 out of 6 in the line and scoring 10 points in the quarter and 26 on the night. 76-64. Rebounded by Jelks, batted free, saved by Broad Ripple. Off the mark, here is Lenore head faking and scoring. Marks had himself a good 4th period. He has 12 points in the quarter and 20 on the night, and timeout has been taken. 45 seconds to play. 76-66. 10-point lead for the Broad Ripple Rockets, or for the Warren Central Warriors over the Rockets. And we'll take a timeout and be right back.
Be the leader of the pack in a Pontiac. Pontiac on the Pontiac pack.
The pack is back to heat up your street with Pontiac's front-wheel drive Hot Ones. Sunbirds, sticker price to bring you in from the cold. Grand Am, this one sizzles with excitement. Pontiac 6000 gets you where you're going. Tells them you've arrived. Get Pontiac's front-wheel drive pulling for you at your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers.
It's hard to save money, but I do it. So I deserve to have it count for more at a bank that will keep it safe under its wing. One that'll help it grow with high interest. And always keep a lookout for even more and better ways for me to save. I deserve American Fletcher.
AFNB, more ways to save and earn more.
I earn the savings advantage.
Here is the final score at Richmond. We showed you this. Connorsville, a big 21-point winner over South Dearborn. So Connorsville will get the winner of this ball game. in the first game next Saturday morning. And Tom and I will be on the air at 11 o'clock to cover that for you. Now down at Columbus, Shelbyville, a 20-point winner. They must have had a great second half, Tom.
Well, last night in the second half, they scored 53 points to defeat Columbus East.
And then coming in from Newcastle will be the Trojans, who won 68-66 over Greensburg. 40 seconds to play here at Hinkle Fieldhouse for the regional championship. And Warren Central has just played one dynamite basketball game. Here is Lenore. Mark is getting his points now. He has 22. But it's a 76-68 lead for the Warren Central Warriors with 20 seconds to play. George has it, trying to make the steal. They come on the high post to Henderson. Down to Futch.
Oh, what an effort that was.
And they throw it away. And now the Warren Central cheering section begins to come unglued across the way. They realize that the school has just won its first ever regional championship and will be in the Sweet 16. Here is a foul. It is on Broderful, and there's a look into the stands across the way. Now the bench begins to get into the act of things. They have been very, well, not stoically, but very tensely and tersely sitting across the way.
Well, you see Gary Jacob, the first-year head coach for the Warriors, and he's ecstatic, which he should be.
Boy, what kind of a... He has set himself a standard of excellence going to be pretty tough to follow for a first-year head coach.
Well,
Wayne Futch.
For many years, of course, coaches try to peak a ball club to come along at the tournament. And certainly this ball club is on a trip nowhere but upward at the moment.
At the free throw line, Dwayne Futch. We'll try to get a word if we possibly can with the winning head coach of this Warren Central Ball Club, and a timeout has been taken. Gary Jacob, first year at Warren Central. This indeed is his first year as a varsity head coach. We'll be back in a minute.
In a minute.
When you're last in line for hot water, isn't it nice to know gas heats water twice as fast for half the cost? That's the gas advantage. Come home to the comfort of natural gas.
We like to see you smile when you carry a promise. You won't be alone, and you'll always feel at home. Hooks likes to see you smile.
Hook's Promise Charge Card puts a whole range of customer services at your fingertips. So carry our promise with you wherever you go.
Hooks likes to see you smile. We like to see you smile.
Final few seconds of the ball game. Lenore scores. He'll finish up with 24, and the ball game is over. The Warren Central Warriors have come away with a 78-70 win that actually wasn't as close as the final score might indicate. Celebration begins. Warren Central with its first ever regional victory. They are now a member of that Sweet 16. Trying to pull Gary Jacob, the head coach, out of that mass of celebrating humanity out there. In fact, we've got him right now. Tom Hessian standing by at court level with the victorious coach, Gary Jacob.
Congratulations.
Here is Tom.
Well, we have the victorious head coach of the Warren Central Warriors. Gary, congratulations. I tell you, we just talked about coaches getting ball clubs ready for tournament play, and my goodness, your club is ready.
Well, I'll tell you, it's the kids. The kids are winners. They wanted to play. They worked hard this week, and they wanted it. They've been working hard all year. I'll tell you, I just love them. They're doing a super job for us.
This has been a tough situation over the years. Warren Central never in the Sweet 16. In your first year, you had a good bunch of athletes. You knew that. But they are a great basketball team right now.
Yes, they are. They are. I got fine athletes. They're just all the way down the line. All 12 of them. They're just super, doing a super job for us.
Just one more quick item. What did you think about planning going into the night's ball game against this undefeated club?
What my planning was?
How were you planning to go about attacking Broad Ripple?
We were going to go at them. I wanted to go at them the first quarter to see what we could do. And then we were going to play them in a zone half-court game. We went at them. I saw that we could play with them. The kids felt it, and we did it.
Your guards were terrific.
Yes, they were. Our guards were quicker. I'm sure that losing Robinson for Smitty hurt him a little bit because he didn't have anybody off the bench, and that was a big key for us because our guards, I knew our guards were tough all the way around.
Gary, enjoy it. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Gary Jacob, the head basketball coach of the Sweet 16-bound Warren Central Warriors. Jerry?
Thanks, Tom, and thanks to Gary Jacob. Leading scorers for the Broad Ripple Rockets with 24, Mike Lenore. Mark had 16 of those in the fourth period, and the only other double-figure score for the Rockets, Thomas Hayden with 10. For the Warren Central Warriors, 3 players in double digits. Craig Looper had 26, Jeff George had 19, and Dwayne Butch had 15. Final score again is 78-70. Warren Central surprises, beats, upsets, if you will, the #1 team in the state. Stand by now. Gary Lee's post-game scoreboard show is coming up. Any reproduction of our telecast strictly forbidden without the express written permission of WTTV, who also has approval of the announcers in our telecast. This is Jerry Baker for Tom Hession, inviting you to be with us next Saturday morning for the Indianapolis Semi-State Tourney. Our live coverage begins at 11 a.m. from right here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Final again, 78-70. Warren Central defeats the #1 team in the state, the Broad Ripple Rockets. So long, everybody.
After he's been elbowed, fouled,